Hello, are we all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, good. Oh, good. So I sent that consent form via WhatsApp because I can't fill it in on the email.
Yeah, no, that should be fine. Thanks for doing that. Um, so we'll literally I'll ask you probably like 10 questions just about like your experience with social media and football, mostly during your playing days. I know you mentioned to me that you nowadays you have some aid, like you have that social media kind of agency thing. Do you want me to ask you a question about that, or just stick to just like your time when you're playing?
Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because I have
Um,
helped certain players.
all right, so this it shouldn't take. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. Um,
Happy to help. Happy to help. Fire away.
all right, so first of all, how did throughout your kind of playing days at the top level, how did you personally cope with the pressure coming from social media and the online world? Did that kind of affect you going into games or your mental state in general?
Yeah. Well, when I was at Liverpool, social media wasn't a thing. It was only later on in my career when I was sort of drifted down to Preston when it became more of a thing. Um, But phones were just starting to appear, really. That's how long ago it was that I played. But it was the pressure was more from the media back then rather than it being the social media. So the newspapers, local newspapers, national, that was the bigger pressure. But you got the release because we didn't have social media. So I'm talking 2004, 2005 when Liverpool won the Champions League, the biggest trophy of all. Social media wasn't a problem for the players. So it definitely helped, and it might have influenced the players had it have been around then. But for me, when it started to come around, you started hearing the fans directly attack you, and it felt yes, there'll be fans giving you praise, but players would always talk about the attacks. Why are they attacking me? So 99 fans would go, yeah, that's decent, but then
Yeah.
one would go, you're rubbish, and so players would struggle to understand that and had no real control of that attack because they've received the attack, can block and obviously mute now, but they've still received that attack, and that's what
Yeah.
social media is giving fans the chance to attack.
So, in terms of you said during your Liverpool days, it wasn't as big of an aspect for you. So, has the way you've used social media changed throughout your career personally, like the way you've been involved with that?
Yeah, I always felt as though social media was a chance to connect with the fans in a way to help them feel closer to the players. But sadly, there's always an element of a proportion of fans who take it differently. I feel as though they can say what they want, which they can, but in a way which can affect the mentality of players. And the mentality of players for me is what has made them professional footballers. They've got the ability, and loads of players have had ability, but not had the mentality. And the reason they are players is because they've got the elite mentality. And being attacked on social media can weaken a really strong person's mentality. So it's got harder. I think it's got harder for the current players, and that's why so many have people who manage it now and don't see it personally. And that was why I created my own social media company to help the players and and also to help them get the right message across. Because for me, I was somebody who would be scared. What should I say? We've just been beaten. Better not say anything at all. But then fans would be upset if you didn't say anything at all. So
Yeah.
you had to get the message right.
Um, yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about kind of your reactions to games, whether you should say something or not afterwards. Do you feel like players have a certain amount of responsibility to kind of have that presence on social media and to be able to set an example? But also on the flip side, how do you balance that between also kind of responding to an abusive tweet or criticism online? How do you kind of balance the kind of the good and the bad side of it?
Yeah, well, that was the reason why I did set up the company because I was sick of players not responding to games. Yeah, well, when it goes well, but also when it doesn't go well. So a player would tweet once in every 10, 15 games. And I was like, that's not enough. You've got to be showing a presence because you have that responsibility to fans around the world who support your football club to let them know what you think. And okay, you could be safe with a few of the messages at times, but you can also be honest, and it's a chance to be honest. players have also shied away from it because they've got in trouble with the authorities, but also with the managers as well. So managers have frowned upon it because of their upbringing was never social media. So again,
Yeah.
generations will change where it becomes more important for and accepted that players have to show that presence online.
So for a young player nowadays, what advice would you give them, like a 19-year-old coming into top flight football? What advice would you give to them in terms of how the ways to manage the online world, and if they should they have a big presence on social media?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not just for them during the career, but it's for after the career. I think it gives them a real presence, a real profile for what they want to do in life. And my advice would be, and I was given to it from a former Liverpool player actually when I was at the club, and he said to me, "Do you think I like you?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. Why would you not like me?" And he said, "Let me tell you now, it doesn't matter how nice a person or how good a person you are, somebody will dislike you. That's just the way life is. Some people will like you, some people won't like you, no matter what you do in life. So stop trying to get everybody to like you because it's impossible for that to happen. And that's the same for social media. Some people will like players, some people won't like players, but don't be affected by that because you can't, not everybody can like you. And so there will always be an
Yeah.
element of abuse or criticism. That's just the way it is. So if players can understand that, whilst they don't like reading it, then that will be very helpful for their mentality.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it there, but in terms of like the social media and these faceless accounts on Twitter, for example, tweeting out abuse at someone. But for you personally, have you ever seen tweets like that and thought anything about what they're saying might be the truth, or that's affected the way you think about your own performance in any way?
I remember, well, I had two death threats on social media on Twitter. Obviously now it's X, and that really scared me because um, I didn't realize the level some people would go to try and get in your head, and that did affect me. I was looking at the front door, thinking, "Can somebody knock on my front door? Is that the sort of thing that can happen?" It really did shake me up a little bit. The fact that somebody could openly just say something like that, I was like, "How's that allowed?" And we see it all the time with racist abuse, with homophobic abuse. We see it with all kinds of abuse, and they're allowed to do it. And that's something I can't get my head around. Whether it'll ever be policed properly, I don't know. But like you say, some of these accounts aren't even real, and so navigating that and understanding that and accepting that is a challenge for all the players. And that's why I believe every single club should have a psychologist to be able to help with the playing side, but the mental side in terms of dealing with those challenges, which is social media. Liverpool have one, and he's very, very good. And I'm sure Arsenal do as well. But does every
Yeah.
club? Does a League One club have it? Does a Championship club have it? And that's where the players need it. Maybe the players need it more because they won't have the social media managers like the Premier League players do.
Yeah. Well, have you personally or your teammates ever needed support from within inside the club about things they've had to deal with from social media?
I dealt with that just personally. Yeah, I didn't tell the manager, which I chose to keep it to myself. Again, a manager would say just stay off it. You know, that's the
Yeah.
easiest. That's the easiest way to do it. But like I say, social media is important for players for after football, not just during as well. And that's why I see the importance of it. But
Yeah.
they're the challenges.
I mean, I guess in today's world, social media is such a, it's just every teenager, young adult, and adults. I mean, it's become social media is literally a huge side of the sport. So for a young player nowadays, what do you think needs to change around the culture of social media, kind of that toxicity side of it? What do you think needs to change in order to fit kind of the generalization of that toxic culture to become something that's not as much of an issue anymore?
I don't know if it will change. I don't know if society will change because they can hide behind a fake profile and say whatever they want. And until the social media companies do something about it, nothing's going to stop these people who have a problem to try and get in the opposition players' heads. So, for example, two teams going for the title, an opposition team would want to get in the other players' heads and
Yeah.
criticize and be horrible about that. And there's nothing to stop that. And so that has to be policed properly before it can change. And so these are the problems that the players will continue to face. And it's about not looking maybe for a certain time after a game. So when I used to have the social media company, we would get a message out within 2 hours of the game finishing to make sure the player was honest and got his message out there. We'd filter the words to make sure that he didn't get in trouble, but to make sure that he was connecting with the fans so they knew exactly what was happening. Champions League final, won the Champions League, within 2 hours, bang, the message is out there. Winning the Premier League, within 2 hours, bang, the message is out there. So that was a really good learning experience. And the amount of abuse that player got after a defeat from the fans who were loving him the game before, we just had to sort of filter that to make sure we didn't tell him some of those replies. And we would reply to the odd person we would reply to, but never somebody who was abusive.
Yeah. I mean, in your opinion, do you think within the ground at a game, if you're the kind of player that's not having the best performance and you're kind of getting some stick from the home or the away fans, do you think kind of real life situations like getting some stick from the fans would help you when you come up, when you come outside of that and you're on your phone and you're scrolling around and people are saying things about you? Do you think your experiences within the game help you out off the pitch as well?
No, because when you read words, you interpret things the way you want it to. So you could hear a fan in a stadium shout something and you go, okay, he's on to me because I've missed a chance. That's fine. But when you read it, it becomes more personal and you interpret it the negative way. If I've missed a chance, oh, he's really been critical of me there. And so the interpretation of words is a problem because people read things in different ways and that will never change. And so, again, that's being aware of how you interpret certain words and at certain moments after games.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that in your Liverpool days, it wasn't so what social media wasn't as prevalent as it was later on in your career. But I mean, at any point in your career, were you ever the type of player that would go into the dressing room at half time or full time and just quick check your phone and what people were saying? Is that something that you've done?
No, definitely not. Once you start getting changed, that's it. Phones not to be seen till I've got changed again. But that was how it was, and there was no checking at half time. For certain results, people would be aware, but that would be given from coaching staff rather than looking at phones. And I do wonder how that's changing in today's changing room. Are they on the phones? Are they looking at things at half time and that sort of thing? Because I can't imagine many managers, if any, would allow them to be having the phones as soon as the hour before the game starts and the hour and full time, really.
Yeah. Do you personally have any tools or ways to filter out the negativity? I know you said it's easier for managers to say to the players, just stay off social media. But if you are a player who does encounter this kind of the abusive tweets or wherever it is, what should the player just think about it? And if they're not responding to it, how would you tell yourself, well, that's just someone behind an account. I'm just get on with my game.
Difficult. I think that is difficult. I think ultimately, if you read something you don't like, you can block and mute, which is something I would advise strongly to do, so they can't reread it again. So quickly get rid of that, and also to reinforce the positive messages in your mind about why you're a professional football player. So it becomes to why have you made it as a footballer? Because your ability, but the mentality as well. And so you need to focus on what you can change, not what you can't change. You can't change if somebody's said you're rubbish. You can't change that. It's happened. But what you can change is how you're going to react to that, rather than dwell on it and start feeling sorry for yourself and letting an absolute nobody affect you. If that's the manager saying it, that's different because you need a conversation there. But if that's just a fan having an opinion, then that's just a fan having his opinion. He isn't picking the team. He isn't the one who's going to make you better out there on the pitch. And that's where the players have to focus on that. How do I get better as a player? Listen to what the coaches say. Know what I can do to get better, rather than let it fester in your mind and then it does become a problem.
I know you touched on this before about players having their own presence on social media. So in terms of a player kind of having that presence, do you think that it's important for them to be able to express themselves online and actually show kind of their human side to it? Because footballers, they're looked at as idols and they're just robots playing a game. But you often, us as fans, we don't get to see kind of their actual personalities online. So do you think it's important for them to have that, to be able to have that freedom to express themselves on social media?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's powerful, and the ones who do it better will get more followers, will get more of a profile, will get more opportunities in life in terms of away from the playing side of things, whether it be sponsorship, whether it be adverts, that sort of thing. So if you've got that personality to be able to deal with social media in a positive way, I think that can enhance your career, but also post. I don't think players realize how important it is because it gives them the online presence is forever, not just while you play in your career. And that's why they can maximize it while they're in the game, while they're really lucky to be professional footballers and idolized. So then when they're out of the game 10 years later, they can still be in a positive position knowing what they did in the game is helping them after the game. And so I think that's where players have to maximize the time in the game, and social media is a brilliant tool for that. We honestly, keep going back to this social media thing. We did a campaign for one player who got Player of the Year because of his engagement with the fans. He was nowhere near the best player, but he got Player of the Year because of his engagement online on social media. And so players are so scared to tweet anything or to post pictures. But if you do it properly in the right way and engage with fans, and they see that personal aspect, you can help yourself massively, certainly at that club and for after.
All right, Neil, thank you very much for speaking to me. Much appreciated.
Are we done?
Thank you very much.
Right, top man. Good luck against who did you get? PSV.
Yeah, but we've got Madrid then, after Madrid or Atletico after that.
Yeah, and then us in the semi.
Obviously, Anfield will be second leg. It's disastrous.
Yeah, you got West Ham to deal with this weekend. Fancy.
But I said to you when we arranged this interview, I said at the time, you've got a couple tricky away games coming up. We'll see how you get on with them.
Still unbeaten. Yeah,
I thought you got away with it at Everton, and you've got away with it at Villa. They had two at the end there that it probably should have gone in.
Villa? No.
Do you think you'll beat City on Sunday?
I don't think we'll lose. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. I think
we take a draw.
Yeah, I think you might draw or win 1-0. I don't think you'll blow West Ham away.
No, neither do I. We've got Mourinho up top.
There you go. Can you do it?
Just quickly about the whole confidentiality stuff. You have three options. Do you want to stay completely anonymous, even in my university dissertation, or are you happy for me to use your name so they can see who I'm actually talking about?
Yeah, use my name if that helps. Of course, use it.
Yeah, I'm saying. So
let's put on a Liverpool strike. Have a bit of that.
It's better for me. Otherwise, I'd have to refer to you as former Premier League. They're not going to know who I'm talking about.
That helps, yeah. If you want to, you decide. I'm not bothered. Yeah, if it helps.
No, that's the whole point of the ethics bullshit. I have to ask you if you're okay with the whole name stuff. Cool. So, are you okay with me using your name for my university, and if I want to put it on my website, or just for the university?
You can use my name on whatever you need to use it. It's absolutely fine.
You're a top man. Very easy to talk to.
No problem at all. Well, hopefully see you again at LFC TV.
I know. I've only got a month or two left of uni. Like Mondays at the moment, it's my biggest day, so I literally can't miss it. But I'll speak to Simon and I'll see when I'm going to come back.
You need to come in on March the 17th.
Why? What game is that?
Well, we'll have the League Cup trophy in the studio.
Oh yeah. I know what. I think Newcastle have got a chance.
Yeah. Well, it's a tougher game than Arsenal. Yeah. Glad it's Newcastle. Well.
Not wrong.
Right. All the best to you.
Cheers, Nina. I'll see you in a bit.